glowing with this white
Yeah,
shirt
that
today.
white shirt really.
Hey, welcome to Dads
sorry,
with Coffee.
That
Yeah.
is my favorite. One of my favorite styles of shirt, other than the long sleeve T-shirt, is the white with the single button dad shirt.
Yep, these are the
With
dad
single
shirts.
pocket, yeah.
These were on sale, so that's why I got it. So if I'm glowing and you can't see anything, it's just the lights off the whiteness.
Yeah.
There is a pattern to it. It's just I'm far enough away you can't see
I don't
it.
know if I'd call that a pattern. It's got like
It's a
Black
pattern.
Eyed Susans. What is that?
I don't know.
Daisies.
Yeah.
And then
It's orange, black, and gray. So that was good enough for me.
Oklahoma State colors.
I'm telling you, you know.
He's more ate up with Oklahoma State than I am with the Chiefs. So
Well, I have money going to Oklahoma State. You
That's
don't have
true.
any money going
That's
to
true.
Kansas City. You don't have any loves of your family going to the Chiefs. I have,
yeah,
right. One can dream.
One can only dream.
One
That's
can
right.
dream
One
and
can
hope, right?
absolutely dream. So I got behind a less than stellar driver this morning on my way in. I don't.
Good times, man.
Okay, so they put in a traffic circle,
Yes, they have.
and
And the second one's coming.
they've finally opened it up west to east, and so I get to the traffic circle. I'm going to Sonic to get my sweet tea, and there's a little bobcat, not an animal, but the machine, in the road, just blocking the road. So I've developed a new system, right?
Oh,
instead of going around up towards the overpass,
Uh-huh.
I'll go down Main Street and then take the first left, because you still can't go all the way down Main Street.
Have they got you can't go west on Main Street anymore?
Yes, you can. You can go east and west
To a point.
up from the high school to the train tracks. At the train tracks, there's no more eastbound traffic.
Right. Right.
You can go west.
But you were trying to go east.
Right. I'm just trying to go east.
You're trying to
around
get
the
to
traffic,
Sonic.
because I do a lot of bypasses, right? I like to take the most efficient route.
Right.
Well, as you're going down towards AZZ Products,
Yes.
there's no stop sign on the northbound lane.
right.
So the east and westbound lanes both have stop signs. So I always take that road so that I don't have to stop at the stop sign. And I can just whip around that corner and boom, I'm first. Because if you're not first, you're last.
Right.
So there I am. And there's this stupid bobcat. So I have to go back around where the old Presbyterian church is. And,
Yeah.
and it just set my morning off. And then I'm coming back, and big as the world, no left turn. Big sign, no left turn.
And what are you gonna do?
There's a guy sitting there in front of me, stopped,
Try to make a left turn?
trying to make a left turn. He did. No, not trying. He did make a left turn.
He did it. Yeah.
After the person that was legally driving made a left turn on the main
Oh,
street,
my
he
gosh.
decided to make a left turn
The other way.
and just do whatever he wants to do, because he's grown. He can do what he wants.
Mm-hmm. Good times.
Big fun. Big fun. So normally this time of year would be the annual pinning ceremonies of Navy Chief Petty Officers.
Yes.
Usually it would have been yesterday,
Okay.
15th of September. Or on the reserve side, it would be this Saturday. What's today? 16th, 18th of September,
Okay.
right? However, due to COVID restraints, they just started training like a month ago.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
It's gonna be off schedule.
But it's funny because people that are going through training right now got paid yesterday for E7.
as if they were already
Yes.
pinned.
Yes.
Well, if you had to choose,
Oh,
you might take the pay.
no, you wouldn't. Yeah, not if you wanted to be accepted, you wouldn't.
Oh, okay. You want the pin.
That's you can go buy the uniform if you want.
But it,
I mean, you're officially an E7, but nobody wants to be an E7 in the Navy. Everybody wants to be the chief in the Navy.
well, everybody wants to be the chief everywhere.
Well, there's a little bit more to it in the Navy, though.
So E7's not chief,
E7 is the pay grade of a chief petty officer.
but the pin makes you chief.
Well, the acceptance of the mess makes you a chief. It can't. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's tough.
understand.
It's tough to explain. It's a
Well,
process, and it's a very mental process. mental and physical.
Yeah.
You know, for the first time since I broke my shoulder the first time, I was under 200 pounds during Chiefs initiation. I was, you know, still had a beer belly, even though I don't drink beer. I don't get it. Mountain Dew belly,
Yeah.
sugar belly. But it's a physical and mental challenge. I got broke down 6 ways to Sunday by this one guy.
And that's the point. That's what they try to do.
Yes, it is. And it's a change of mindset. You know, you have to break them down before you can build them up.
Sure.
It's kind of like boot camp 2.0. But with a little more flowery, colorful language.
You know, I get that, the whole thing, because I've read some leadership books that talk about you can have the position, but it doesn't mean you have the authority yet.
Yeah.
And it's all about, do the people trust you yet?
Exactly.
You know, you, like I said, you can be given the title. When I went to work for Chick-fil-A, when I was in seminary, they hired me as Mr. Hassler hired me as, he's always Mr. Hassler.
Yes.
I mean, he's Wayne, but Mr. Hassler.
Yeah.
He hired me as store supervisor. But we agreed not to tell anybody for the first 3 weeks I worked there, because I worked the fry station, I worked the drop station, I worked the bagging station, because I hadn't had experience in the Chick-fil-A way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we agreed that it would be a good thing for me to learn all the stations, get to know the people before unveiling he's the one in charge of you. And it has to do a lot in the same way that, you know, you can be given a title, but if you don't have the trust,
right,
then it doesn't really matter.
It's a huge difference between being a boss and being a leader.
It is. And sometimes you just need to be the boss in crisis moments. But leadership is always the better way to go.
You keep yourself out of more crises.
Oh yeah.
With leadership.
Well, I kind of mean from outside crisis coming in.
Yes.
And
those happen.
They do. They do.
It's just a fact of life.
It is. You know, so what do you do then when you have you have people that just won't be led? Have you ever had people under you that they just wouldn't be led? They're just not going to be led. They can trust you. You have the title, but they're just not going to be led.
And
what do you do with that?
You cut them off. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
See ya.
You're gonna cut bait, you're gonna fish, 1 to 2, but you're not gonna sit there and do nothing. It's just
that's the Navy way.
You wash your hands of them. If that's how you want to be, fine.
You know, Paul said, "Shake the dust off your feet and leave the town."
I mean, I'm just saying, you can't make someone want something for themselves.
No, that's true.
You can't make them want to follow. You can't make them want to do what you want to do. I mean, that's our.
But so how much of that's on the responsibility of the leader to help create an atmosphere where they want to do what it is you want them to do?
And that goes back to you can be a leader that leads with an iron fist.
Sure.
Or you can be a leader that leads from the front. Right? To lead from the front means you're out there on the front lines, you're doing the work with them. To lead from the back means you're sitting behind a desk, you know, just throwing jobs at people.
Right.
I look at the aviation side of the world. You know, there's many times when I was on night check and we had to get a re-rig done on an airplane, and I messed up my very first pair of khaki shoes. They weren't really, they're kind of a reddish brown, but shoes that you wear in your khakis.
Yeah.
Tore up my very first pair out doing a re-rig because, you know, we were under the gun. We had a flight to get out if we had to get this re-rig done.
Yeah.
So you get out there and you lead by doing.
Yeah, the leader follower relationship is always can be somewhat tenuous.
Well, the way we were taught, it takes a good follower to be a good leader. You have to be able to take direction before you can give direction.
Right.
And if you can't take direction, if you can't,
Right.
if it always has to be your way, you're not going to get very many people to follow you.
Right.
You're not going to be able to get very many people to go with you.
Right.
Right.
But there are those occasions that sometimes it just has to be. I mean,
but those occasions
it's
occasions
sprinkled in.
come after you've built
Sure.
a relationship.
Sure.
And they understand that, look, this is our leader.
Right.
I trust him
Right.
or her, and I'll go to battle.
Right.
We'll storm hell with the fire over the water pistols.
Right. Right.
Because that's the type of leader and type of person this is.
Right.
So yeah. So, but the crisis does come up, and at that point,
Yeah.
you already have the respect of your troops, we'll say.
Right. Right.
And at that point, they understand that you have to take a different position, and that you have to push them instead of trying
during
to
this
pull them.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or whatever time that may be.
But they know that on the backside of this, you're going to be right there back with them.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know we were going to get into Navy talk today.
the issue. Well, there's a lot of correlation. I mean, leadership is leadership. It doesn't matter. Your experiences are in the Navy.
Yeah.
My experiences are in, food service and church work,
Mhm.
and other areas of leadership. But even as dads, we're the leader of the family. It doesn't mean we do all the work, but we are the leader of the family. We're the one responsible for the family.
I got the greatest compliment the other day, and it wasn't even given to me. It was actually more of a compliment to Joanna because, Marcus is teaching at Best Race now, and he's
at Best Race, yeah.
Yeah, he's teaching
And he was doing SPED. I didn't remember where.
He's doing. It's called C's, right? It's for kids that struggle being in a mainstream classroom.
Okay.
And one of the teachers that are not in the non-special education department, they're just regular classroom teacher,
Right.
says they really like Mr. Warren. And I think Joanna overheard this
Mhm.
because he doesn't just talk at kids.
Right.
He gets down to their level
Talks with them.
and he talks with a kid.
Mhm.
And so for him, because that's a modeled behavior, Marcus is the most stubborn child. He always wants to know why.
Mhm.
If they had this program when Marcus was in first, second, third, fourth grade, chances are he would have been in this because he couldn't learn sitting down. He was always standing up at his desk, and he had teachers that understood that. When Marcus was able to stand and lean over his desk, he was perfect. He just couldn't sit for that long. I don't know if you know this about Marcus, but he can't.
I'm not sure Marcus wants us all to know this, but go ahead.
Well, that's fine. Marcus won't take his shoes off in the house. Like he walks around the house in tennis shoes all the time until the very last second before he climbs into bed. He's wearing tennis shoes. He's wearing shoes. I don't know. It's OCD, ADD, something D. I
Yeah.
don't know. But that was a great compliment to know that and just to hear him say some things when he's talking to Carter or Evan, that I know that I've said the same words that he did not listen to when he was
But now he's
16
dispensing it.
to 19 years old, and he was like, "Dad, you're so dumb. Why do you say stupid things like this?"
Now he's dispensing it
Yeah.
to the rest of them.
Yeah. So parents, they're listening.
There's hope.
They're listening.
Train up a child.
They are.
But we are and trust is a big factor in everything. And I got on this concept of trust this morning. I was reading in Esther. It's our reading this week. And of course, it's in chapter 4 and 5, it's the setup chapters for what's about to go down. And for those of you at home, in this moment, we've got the statement from the king, the order from the king. I went back and looked to verify. Haman never told the king what ethnicity he was going to eradicate.
Right.
Just that there was a group that he needed to eradicate. Because I thought it was interesting how he then wants to honor a Jew, so he could not have known, I don't think, that that's what was going to happen.
Well, he couldn't have.
But
Unless he's just.
But when Mordecai, when Esther gets word, and it's how Esther gets word that I find interesting, because she has one of the king's eunuchs overwatching her, taking care of her. Okay, so where's this guy's loyalty lie?
Right.
Because she gives him some information to take to Mordecai. Mordecai gives him some information to take back to Esther. And there's some intimate details. So I feel certain that this guy now knows she's a Jew.
Has to.
Right. So it struck me, there was a level of trust.
He was more loyal to her.
Right. But it just got me to thinking, though, what was there about him that caused her to think he could be trusted with this extremely sensitive information?
Well, it's
you know what I'm saying?
It's a relationship building process.
Well, absolutely, but they didn't have a long time.
Yeah,
they weren't together long. Less than a year.
Because that's when God intercedes.
Well, and I don't discount God can do whatever he wants, but he works through humanity. And in that regard, she had to trust him. And it makes me wonder. And I wrote down in my journal, what is it about somebody? What characteristics are in a person that I would trust? Because I've been betrayed a lot.
Yes.
I've been betrayed a lot in ministry life, not just personal life, in ministry life, by people in the church, betrayed. It hurts. It stinks. Mm-hmm. And it was people I thought I could trust. So I have a hard time trusting people right off the bat.
Right.
Other people, I didn't used to be that way, and I hate that I am that way now, but life is life, and this is where I am. And I don't trust people very quickly. It takes, as the old saying goes, it's easy to break, it's hard to make. Mm-hmm. Trust it's easy to break, it's easy to lose, and it's hard to win with me. It takes a long time for me to trust you with any information, because I've had it used against me way too long. Yep. It's way too hard. And raised in the last half of my raising anyway, from 10 to 18 before I left the house, was in a pastor's home also. And he embraced the glass house theory. We live in a glass house. Everybody's watching, so we always have to be on our best behavior. No ifs, ands, buts about that. And we've striven to not be that in our home. We are who we are. If you don't like it, that's not my problem.
Yeah, right.
We are who we are. People used to complain about my kids, and I'm like, well, they get it from your kids.
Learn it by watching you, okay?
And it was just like, it's like kids are kids.
So maybe let's take this.
I digress into that, but it's just the area of trust.
Maybe the eunuch had been under Haman for so long that he finally saw a different. Maybe he didn't like.
He wasn't under Haman. He was under the king. He wasn't Haman's eunuch. He was the king's official.
He just didn't like Haman, so he wanted to see him fail.
Well, and that could be true. I'm not sure how many people really liked Haman. It didn't seem anybody but his wife really liked him. And she might have liked him for the privilege that she got, but that's speculation.
Yeah. Have you ever, in your ministry, did you guys ever do the musical Esther Day?
No.
We did that here when, Ryan and Luke were still in children's ministry, because Luke was Haman. And one of the lines that I'll never forget, and I forget who even said it, but it was like, "Hey man, it's Haman."
Oh my gosh.
And so I say that all the time. Anytime I see the word Haman, the name Haman,
hey
like,
man,
hey man, it's Haman.
But I just think that we live in a world, and then I go over to my Facebook feed, and the lack of trust in anything, anybody, anywhere is at an all-time high.
Oh,
we don't trust at all. And I'm like, okay, we as Christians should be acting different than everybody else. Now this, comes in light of the reading that I had with Esther and the eunuch, and I'm just like, we've lost the sense of trust, and that's a sad moment. And it's like we need to be the people that could be trusted.
Right. I don't trust some things. And I'll leave that to your imagination.
Yeah, I don't trust everything either. I'm not saying that.
But I think I'm trustworthy. Loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind.
I was going to say, what are the character? So
clean, and reverent.
The person you trust, what is it about a person that you trust? What's qualities of that person that you trust? I'm just trying to unpack this a little bit about what could there have been. It's all speculation. What could there have been about this servant to her that she would have entrusted life and death information with?
So you and I met September of, or it was probably August of 18.
Yeah, because you weren't in the cabin when I came to talk to you
right. Because I was out with my people.
You were out with your peeps, man.
My people. What was a Thursday night? We were probably doing Falls Creek Live. No, it wasn't. It was Tuesday night.
It was Tuesday. At any rate,
could have also been doing.
Yes, we officially met in August when we came down to visit the place. You gave us a tour. We ate at
Nikki D's.
Nikki D's. Yeah, you packed us up with swag.
I did. Yeah, hooked the kids up. Got Samuel a bunch of pins, and but I knew within. Full disclosure, I did a background check on you.
Yes, you should.
As
you should.
I made some phone calls.
Yeah,
because I'm a trust but verify guy.
I know. Yeah, Navy runs deep in you.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I did the Navy longer than I did anything else in my life ever.
Right.
And so I would say within 6 months, by March, you've gained my full trust and confidence. Just by the way you carried yourself, your character, your nature, your honesty, your openness. You didn't seem to try to hide things from anyone.
Right.
You were just an open book. I could trust a person.
I'm just who I am.
If I meet someone and they're constantly guarded and I always feel like they're hiding something, or they're trying to keep something out of your knowledge base.
Right.
I have a tendency to not trust them with certain things.
Oh, and I would agree that I feel the same way about those qualities. I mean, you just get a sense about somebody that you just don't trust.
So in this scenario, with Esther, she had been with him
for however long,
6, 7, 8 months.
Yeah. We might round it up to a year, but I don't think it was that long.
The time that you can get to know a person,
right?
So maybe understand a person. Maybe they've had conversations.
Yes, yeah, and I think that's part of the keys is they had conversations.
I'll dare to say that I might trust you more than a lot of people in other circles that you run trust you. For example, in your choir boosters.
Yeah.
I probably know you better than the choir boosters.
Sure.
So I guarantee I trust you more than some of those people that are in that group.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Not because you're not a trustworthy person. They just don't have the relationship.
It's a level of relationship that you have. Absolutely. Absolutely. And having conversations and developing relationship, that's what gains trust in somebody. I think that's true for most everybody.
Mm-hmm.
There are people out there that they just trust at the drop of the hat and they wonder why they get hurt every other day.
Right.
Because you trust too easy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you should never trust, but I think you can over trust.
You need to be guarded without being closed off.
Right. Well, I would say careful.
Yes.
Be careful. Because you've just got to be careful. And my experiences in life caused me to be overly cautious, probably more than I should, until I get to know somebody and I'm willing to be more free and more open and more honest with them. And I think that church life is the same way. I mean, we've got pick a church out of any county seat town anywhere in America, and that church is going to have issues in this day and age, in this moment, because the young don't trust the old and the old don't trust the young. And I would venture a guess that would say the reason why the young don't trust the old and the old don't trust the young is a lack of conversation and a lack of relationship. And then if we would solve those two things, trust could come between us, and trust is what leads to relationship, and relationship leads to unity. And unity is what Jesus prayed that we'd have.
I think we talked about that last week.
Well, because it's such a need. It's such a need.
And it's, yeah.
Well, but I mean, with our kids, the things that I trust my kid with now is not what I trusted them with 10 years ago.
Well, of course not.
Well, I mean, but they've grown and they've aged, that's fine. But it's still easy to lose the trust if information or privilege is mishandled.
I at the same age, I trust Evan more than I trusted Ryan. Maybe it's because he's the youngest and I'm just a little more.
You're tired now.
Yeah. just let him get away with more. But no, again, Evan had the opportunity of watching three older brothers make a lot of mistakes.
Right. They don't do what he doesn't. Not that
they were bad kids.
No.
But they made some poor decisions, and Evan got to see the wrath of those decisions.
Right. It's like, I don't think I want to go down that road.
He didn't want to play that game.
Yeah.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. He didn't want any stupid prizes.
Right.
So, but now, again, as the kids get older.
So why do you trust things with Evan that you did not with Ryan? Let's unpack that a minute.
Oh, Ryan, I hope you're not watching.
Or Marcus, for that matter, since we've already brought him into the conversation.
Well,
but okay, why would you trust given the same ages? When they were that age, you didn't trust them with the things you do now.
Okay, so I didn't let.
Is there an example?
The older boys, I didn't let them get their driver's license right at 16.
Okay,
because they didn't have the maturity.
Okay,
they didn't have the level of responsibility.
And they might argue that he doesn't either, but you're letting him do it.
Well, they might argue that, but they don't have a very good argument, right? Because my blonde-headed boys had a tendency to wait until the very last minute to do anything.
Right.
And everything was, if you wait till the last minute, it only takes a minute. Ryan was a little better about it. But Evan, take, for example, homework. When Evan gets homework, he does it right now. Like, I don't care if he gets home from football at 8:00. First thing he does is homework before he does anything else.
Right.
I could trust him to accomplish that task, and I could trust him that he's going to get it done.
Right.
The others,
last minute's only a minute.
I would have to ask over and over, do you have any homework? Do you have any projects? Do you have a boat due for physics that we have to stay up till 4:00 in the morning making and hoping it works? And
man, that sounds like a very specific moment of history in
I don't know
world.
what you're talking about. The boat made it. Okay.
Praise Jesus, the boat floated.
We had to remake the boat twice. Oh, we went through more duct tape.
Anyway.
But Evan, in his 16 years, has always stayed on top of things.
Right.
Evan and he's always just been just a really good kid.
Yeah.
Not that the other kids were bad kids, but they weren't as good.
Right.
They were good kids too.
Bella's done the same thing. She she watched Samuel do the things Samuel did, and again, neither one of them have ever done anything heinous.
Right.
It's just he went first.
Mm-hmm.
He did first dumb things at times.
Yeah, Ryan did fewer dumb things than Marcus.
Yeah, and
Carter fewer
Isabella watched that, and she didn't do those things. Now she's got her own set of things, but you know, we would ask Samuel the same question. Okay, you have homework? Yeah, maybe. I gotta check. You know, and you know, did you get that email? I don't know. I didn't check my email. You know,
you have to check that daily.
Isabella comes up. Did you get I already got the email. She'll walk in the door sometimes. I got the emails. I get the same emails that you get. I got the emails. I know what's going on. I've got this. I have a plan. Would you like to see the plan? I'm working the plan.
And so you trust her a little more.
Yeah.
To know that she's going to get that job done.
Yeah.
And you still verify.
Yeah. COVID was a struggle, but outside of a COVID, the online swapo changeo stuff, outside of that, yeah. I worry sometimes that it's the second child, so we're more relaxed than we were at the first child syndrome.
What's that say about the fourth child?
That's why we have 2 children. No, but you know,
if Ryan had been a girl, we might only have 2 children.
Woo!
But alas,
here we are.
We have 4 boys.
You know, and so you know, you trust them, and I think the transition time as they're moving on. It takes trust.
Yeah, you have to be able to trust that when you send them off to school,
right,
they're going to. And that's another thing. You know, Ryan took all these dual credit classes in high school,
right?
And when Ryan got to college his first year, he was overwhelmed, and his first year of college was not good. Evan saw that
the classes were at a point he was not yet.
He was in upper level chemistry classes,
and he was a freshman.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out life.
He wasn't ready, and being out on his own for the very first time.
Right.
He wasn't ready for that.
Right.
Evan saw that and he decided, you know what, Dad? I'm just going to do high school. I'm going to take all the AP classes. That's fine. But I'm going to start college as a freshman.
I'll be ready for all of them.
Yes.
But I will take them again just because.
Yeah. Because I would rather him have a successful freshman year.
Sure.
Than to have a struggle and take 5 years to finish his degree.
Right.
We got a lot of comments. See what we're getting here. Good morning. Yeah, you're right. Well, I think girls are trusted more than boys in general.
Because girls mature at a faster rate than boys during this time frame. I mean,
okay, my sisters are picking on me in the comments here.
Well, they always do. That's nothing new.
Yeah. Well, they're jealous.
Because your mom's favorite.
Okay, you are absolutely right. It is a blonde brunette thing. Your blonde grandson has similar attributes. Maybe it is a blonde thing. I don't know. They always said blondes have more fun, but I don't think they meant it like that.
Right. Well, I just reading through Esther, I wanted us to talk some about trust today, because I think that's a key building block for our civilization that we're lacking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anytime the culture is lacking one of these basic building blocks, that's where the church needs to be over modeling that in order to bring a balance and an awareness to the larger culture. So when we aren't trusting as the church, we're not helping our culture. We're letting the culture shape the church instead of the church shape the culture. And that's been going on for a while.
It has.
But now's the time. Just like Mordecai told Esther, what if you've been made queen for such a time as this? What if whatever church you're attending, whatever church you're a part of, what if that church is still alive, still breathing, still has people in it right now? Because a lot don't. What if your church on that corner is still functioning because it's such a time as this
Mhm.
that whatever is not being seen, you guys get the opportunity to model that, so that the world, the local community to the larger world, gets to see how Christ transforms a people.
Right.
And then Christ, in the words of Niebuhr, Christ then can transform the culture instead of the culture transforming the church. And I think that's a responsibility that we have laid down for 5 decades. And it's time we pick the mantle back up, or it's time to close the doors.
Something's got to give.
Something is going to give. And I think that there are people that would say the church will always be. If you believe, and I agree and disagree with that,
Mhm.
if you say the church in its form and its function in building wise, no, it may not always be. If you are saying the church as the people of God who are living by faith for the kingdom of God, then yes, that will always be. But the facility and the function and the form of it all, it may radically change in the next decade.
Mhm.
And we can
Or less.
either pine away for what we used to have, or we can embrace a future for what Christ is calling us to. And it's one or the other. If we get to have some stuff come along with us, that's great. But the primary attribute of the church is to be a people that are unified in the same way the Father and the Son are unified.
Mhm.
That's in John 17, verses 20 to 23. This is the prayer of Jesus, that they would be, he says, I pray that they would be one like you and I are one, Dad. I want them to be one like we're one. If you unpack that, there's a lot there that we're lacking.
A lot of depth to that.
We're lacking because we're too interested in my preference over Jesus's preference. And in some ways, I think it's because we don't trust the Spirit of God to do his job, so we try to do it for him.
Deep thoughts with Aaron Sanders.
So I just think we have to bring trust back. And I know people say, well, you have to earn trust. I get that. But as the people of God, at least start there. Start there, build trust, model trust, and then work its way out into other areas. We need to be shaping our culture. And I think trust is one way we can start with that.
I dig it.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
All right.